Hioki RM3548 Milli Ohmmeter. View options, date and time settings, and temperature corrected measurements. So I want to show you this view button right here, which is also the plus button. Anytime you have something on the button itself, that's a single press. Anything that's below that button, that's a 2-second press. So if I press and hold this down for 2 seconds, what it's going to do is it's going to give me my memory settings. Now, this meter can remember multiple measurements. It has blocks of memory, and it has individual data or individual measurements. So I am in block A, and I've already saved 4 into this memory, so it's on the number 5 right there. And I'm going to show you that memory feature later. But let's push the view button again, hold it down for 2 seconds, and now it will tell me the temperature that's reading off of my temperature sensor, and it's at 26.3 Celsius. Pushing it one more time and holding it down will clear that value. This meter also has the ability to have the date and time, and that's going to be important if you're saving any of your readings for later review. You can also print them out, put them onto a computer. So if I push my date and hold it down, you'll see that it tells me I have programmed it for 2024. This is the 9th month, the 23rd day, and we're at a 24-hour clock of 1427, which is 2:27 p.m. in the afternoon. Pushing escape right over here will clear that setting. If you need to change your clock and your date and your time, you need to turn the meter off. That's a 1-second push. Hold down the date button. Turn your meter back on. Once the display comes up, you can release the date button. Now you can take your left and right arrow buttons and you can move from digit to change the values. If this happens to be 2025, I push the plus symbol that moves it up. I'm going to put that back to 2024. If I push the right arrow button again, it takes me down to the month. And I can scroll through all of these settings and make whatever adjustments I need. And then when you're done, press the enter button. Now, since these settings are correct, I'm just going to press escape because I don't want to make any changes, even though I didn't change any of those values. This meter has the ability to adjust this reading based upon temperature. That's why we have this temperature sensor right here that's plugged in at the top. Now, this is reading ambient temperature, and whatever you're measuring also needs to be at ambient temperature so it can do the correction. Every conductor has its own characteristics on how much the resistance changes based upon the temperature change or whatever the temperature currently is. And so there are settings in here that we can adjust to make sure we get the accurate temperature change. But I have some generic settings that work with most copper wire. So let me show you how you adjust for that temperature change without making any setting changes. Over here in the lower left, this button is labeled TC/triangle T, which stands for delta T, and we'll discuss when we're going to use that delta T at a later time. But if I go ahead and push this, and don't push it long because you're going to get to the length. Now you'll see where temperature correction and delta show up here. They're both saying they're off. If I push it again, it'll now just say my temperature correction, and here it's asking me to make changes based upon what I'm measuring, and I'm just going to leave these defaults right here. This is saying at 20 degrees Celsius, it's going to have 3850 parts per million based upon the temperature there. If I like all this, I just push my enter button. Now you'll see that I have my temperature correction lit up over here. It has adjusted that from 40 ohms down to 39.3. And if I take my sensor and put it in some warm water over here and let that heat up a little bit, you'll see that it automatically starts to make my temperature correction. Now, this is inaccurate because I'm not warming up my resistor. I'm only warming up the temperature sensor, which is measuring my ambient temperature. So this is certainly not accurate, but this displays how that makes that change. Now, if I want to turn off my temperature correction, I simply come back to this button, push it again, push it one more time, push it a third time till it reads off, then go ahead and press enter, and now you'll see that temperature correction is turned off, and I'm back to 40 ohms.